What's up, everybody? My name is Garrett. I work at Squads. I'm head of business development and comms, and also the hype man. This is Aadil. He is the head of crypto at Bridge, and let's get into it. So,
Cool.
Matt, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you guys are working on at Bridge?
Yeah, cool. So I'm Aadil. I work at Bridge, and I look after a lot of our crypto products. That includes stablecoin issuance, wallets, and also our blockchain infrastructure. So what Bridge does today is we build stablecoin APIs that make it very easy to build financial services products on top of stablecoins. The way we think about it is we build these things at the absolute lowest level that makes it extremely easy to build each of the individual components, but also they work really nicely together when you assemble them. So an example is we make it very easy to switch between different kinds of fiat and stablecoins. We provide these products called virtual accounts that let people outside the US access the US financial system, and then you can convert those to stablecoins. We allow you to hold those stablecoins in custodial wallets, and then also convert them to a stablecoin that we issue that allows you to earn rewards on the stablecoins, and then also spend those stablecoins with things like virtual cards, which I know you all are kind of using, so would pass it on to you.
Yeah, I've heard this analogy. I hear orchestration is what you guys did, and I didn't really know what that means. And I've heard like stablecoins is, think of it as pool. Once you're in the pool, the water can go anywhere, but how do you get in and out of that pool?
Yeah.
That's really like orchestration, what you guys do. And to go on a quick diatribe about how Bridge is actually used across our products, so we're not only telling, you can show it. Talk about Squads and take you back 4 years ago when everyone building the space thought you had to be a DAO, right? Like a decentralized autonomous organization. And so you had programs and you had tokens and you had to secure that in some way. So that's when we built Squads multisig. Now that's like transformed a lot over time. We have like 350 teams using it, 10 billion in value. But we wanted to bring that security and functionality to people like me and you. So we built Solana's first smart wallet with Fuse. That was great. It had the security from Squads. You could have integrated yield and some other cool features. But it didn't go from a smart wallet to a personal finance app until we started working with Bridge. So once we brought in Bridge, you could do things like have a virtual bank account where you can have Fuse. It gives you bank account details, and you can receive bank transfers from businesses and people from all around the world. And then also, later on, if you want to send USDC to your own bank account or to others, you can also use Bridge for that, and you do it in just a few clicks. And I think it was a few weeks ago now, we released Fuse Card. So not only can you earn on your stablecoins, you can on-ramp, off-ramp, you can also spend them anywhere. And this is all done through Bridge. So to me, that's how it's completely transformed Fuse. But it's also enabled 2 new products we have. One is called Altitude, which is a stablecoin native USD account to save, earn, and move dollars. Essentially, we have a lot of Solana teams that want to have stablecoins as a large part of their business now. But as part of that, we also have people all around the world that just want access to dollars, they want access to yield, and global payments. Because Bridge is brought into Altitude, they can do this in 100+ countries. And to finally kind of wrap up this product suite, which is a lot to get your head around, but it's all enabled by Bridge, and how they've changed this is we have Grid. And we've basically been building this infrastructure for 3 years, and we've learned like 2 things. It's really damn hard to build, and it works really damn well. But we want to bring this and make it available to everybody. So what we did is we wrapped this into APIs. We call it APIs, Open Finance APIs for stablecoin rails. And because of Bridge being tied into this, now any fintech developer can build with stablecoins. They can have payments around the world and do that basically immediately. And as part of this, you kind of see how our products went from crypto native for DAOs, like not focused on stablecoins at all, to now stablecoins are more and more front and center, but it's still this like stablecoin native infrastructure underneath. And I'm curious if you've kind of seen that same transformation where stablecoins are coming to the forefront and just how that evolves with the business that you guys are building.
Yeah. Fun fact, I was one of the first 5 users of Fuse Card, so got to help work out some of the initial kinks. But it works pretty well now. So what we're seeing is much more global enterprise adoption of stablecoins. So we saw almost like two waves of folks trying to use stablecoins. I think a year ago, when we were working with different developers in the market, we only could work with people who, like yourselves, who already knew about stablecoins, already working with stablecoins. And over the last few months, we've seen really big excitement and enthusiasm from from some of the biggest companies in the world, like Stripe, but also from small developers who are going to use traditional financial services rails, but they realize that with stablecoins they can get faster, cheaper, and more reliable payments across everywhere in the world. So what we're starting to see is folks who don't necessarily care about the underlying technology, like the underlying technology is crypto, but they care about all the benefits that they can get. by using stablecoins.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because like a lot of us in this room, especially at this conference, we started with like super crypto native bare metal builders. And then over time now you have a much larger audience coming from traditional payments, fintech, but you're still enabling it with stablecoins. And that kind of builds off this concept in Solana. We talk about like internet capital markets, right? You have stablecoins, but if you develop this whole financial ecosystem around it, it actually makes it all more valuable at the same time. So it's really cool to see both of us building this together, but instead of like kind of the past and what we've done, I want to talk about what you guys are building next. And I know earlier this month in May, you announced USDB, and that's like a stablecoin product that you guys are offering. Can you talk about that and just give us some details?
Sure. So one thing that we are working on at Bridge is we have a couple of stablecoins like USDB that are already issued and native, and we also can do custom stablecoins for folks like for trusted platforms. So a couple of things that we believe sort of fundamentally. Number one is that there'll be lots of stablecoins in the market. And many big brands who have trusted platforms. So you could think of a platform like yourselves or a Robinhood or something like that that folks know and trust. They have the ability to issue their own stablecoin and and offer rewards and other types of features to their customers because they have a trusted platform. The second thing, and so there won't be kind of just one or two stablecoins to rule them all, but lots and lots of stablecoins. The other thing that we believe is that the current dynamic where the issuer sort of captures most of the yield from stablecoins, which what happens when you have a stablecoin is you take the dollars and you invest them in treasury bills. But the current iteration of stablecoins is the issuer keeps most of that. But we believe in a world where the issuer keeps some of that, the distributor, the platform keeps some of that, and then the end user gets some of that as well. And we're trying to build infrastructure to make that much simpler. Then the third thing is that different use cases will need different reserve structures. So you may need a different mix of cash or treasuries or on-chain facilities to back your stablecoin, not just off-chain facilities. So we're trying to build a system to make all of that much easier to interact with.
Yeah. It's a really cool product. I'm curious how you see this happening in the future because there's some people that talk about that alphabet soup of stablecoins and that we just have like this long list of stablecoins with 1,000 names. But also I see a lot of value in having your own integrated stablecoin that you can put in your stack and you can control not only the back end but also how consumers see that stablecoin. I'm curious, how do you see either businesses implementing this? Do you see 1 million stablecoins being created? Do you think it'll be like a power law of 10 or how do you imagine this?
It's a really good question, and I don't have a fully formed opinion right now, but I think the shape that we're sort of seeing play out is more and more what I call infrastructure tokens. So these tokens power applications or platforms and move money within them, allow transfers between customers, and serve as a safe store of value because they don't have a public market where you can go trade them. So if someone is compromised or those tokens get stolen, there's no essentially liquid market to get them to use them. But I think there's going to be a few open loop tokens, ones that are shared publicly that need network effects. They need places where they're accepted. And this is why stablecoins like USDC and USDT have done so well because they're just widely adopted and widely accepted. So I don't know if there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. But I see a world at least where there's lots and lots of closed loop stablecoins that power these applications.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's hard. I think most things become a power law.
Yeah.
I think that you can do a lot of creative things by having your own stablecoin, even if you brand it as just $1 in your UI. Like we think about this a lot, right? From Fuse to Squads to Altitude, how do you want to present it to the user? Maybe if your Squads, it's super crypto native people, they want to look at the Explorer and see every option in that list. Other people, it's more like an Apple Wallet. They just see USD. They don't see USD Apple, for example. So I could see it being like that. I think trust is a big deal. I think the collateral backing that stablecoin over time becomes bigger and bigger. And over time, I think that trust just gets shared through word of mouth. So like when you guys think about the collateral underlying that stablecoin, is that a big thing for you guys?
Yeah, and just to reinforce what you say, we see exactly the same thing where the end user typically doesn't care what the stablecoin is that backs it so long as that it is trusted and they know it's safe. So we see expressions of USD balances or total balance or digital dollars, depending on how the platform wants to show it to their users. But what they care about is it safe and is it fungible? Can I send it to my bank account? Can I send it to a friend? And I think that's the important piece. I think what we try to do with our stablecoins, particularly with USDB, is we're holding ourselves to the highest possible standard for trust. So we hold the assets and the reserves directly with BlackRock, and we try and keep it in the safest most cash-like instruments as possible, so that if it needs to be redeemed, we can redeem it immediately. And I think that's one sort of piece of it. And the second piece of it is, for us, we think it's super important that we abide to kind of the highest standard of compliance as well, where this is a trusted product not only from the reserve side, but also from the complying with all the laws side. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like being with Stripe isn't a bad deal for you guys either. So
Yeah.
that brand name is pretty great. If you didn't know, they were acquired by Stripe probably like 8 months ago or so. So it's been big for the whole industry. Do you have any thought on how stablecoins will go from being like an investment account where I'm earning your treasury yield on these stablecoins versus these are the stablecoins I use for payments? Because I think some people are very pumped about stablecoins and earning yield. Like if I'm a company in Japan, I have a treasury with some liabilities in dollars, I might want to hold dollars, earn yield on dollars. But will that same stablecoin that I'm earning on be the one that I'm making payments with?
Yeah. It's a really good question. It's sort of like, my hope is that what we see, the evolution of this space, is that we see almost like a blending of the current and the savings account, where you don't think of them as different things. And you get all the benefits of the rewards and the earnings you can get from a savings account, but all the liquidity and the utility of a current account. And I think the important thing is to be able to have a token that is fungibly transferable to other stablecoins, especially when they're openly accepted, as well as fiat really easily, but also backed by treasuries essentially that can earn rewards. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, we got a minute left, so I'm going to go a little rogue with this one. Ben Thompson, you probably know, he's like a big tech writer, one of my favorite people.
That's
also
true,
a huge fan of stablecoins. He did a whole podcast on you guys.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about is often like when the internet came along, you had newspapers that all of a sudden they're like, we're not constrained by our local area anymore. Like we can sell to everybody. And at first that seems like this huge boom, like our customer base just grew by 100 times. But little did they realize they're competing with like Fred in his basement who's really good at content. And now they're competing against everyone across the world. So his point is that the internet came for every business model, and now the internet's coming for money with stablecoins, and that's going to create a lot of opportunity and also destabilization.
Yeah.
I'm curious in your head whether you think it's opportunities for people in different parts of the world, or like what does that come to mind when you hear that destabilization or opportunity that stablecoins and lowering friction will cause?
Yeah. My favorite analogy is actually, the way I think about it is, I think stablecoins are having what I say like close to like a WhatsApp moment.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm from Kenya, and I went to school in England. And I remember having to send a text message to a friend in Kenya or someone on another network. And it cost me like £1 to do it, like $1.50. And it just felt ridiculous that I had to have this 100-character message that cost $1. And I would send very few of them, and I was very careful when I sent it. And telecommunications companies used to monetize with, by minutes and text messages. And in the advent of data, they had to really rethink their business model and monetize with data. And then if you look at something like WhatsApp, so they basically are, in my mind, the telcos are like banks. And they adjusted their business model with the times. And something like WhatsApp has totally changed the way we communicate. It's global. Me sending a WhatsApp message to my wife downstairs in my house is the same as sending a WhatsApp message to my mom in Kenya. It's instant, it's global. And these are all properties that I see with stablecoins too. Like currently to send a wire to Africa is slow, is expensive, a lot of fees are taken out of it. And now to send a stablecoin payment to someone in Kenya is as fast as me sending it to you right here. And I think what that unlocks, the sort of instant settlements, the speed, the size of small transactions being financially feasible, just sort of really unlocks a way of transacting globally that really didn't exist before, just the way WhatsApp and tools like that unlocked a way of communicating globally that just really didn't exist before. And I think right now banks and regulatory bodies are still a little scared of what this technology means for them. But I think over time they'll embrace it and realize they can make money in different ways and use things that they're really good at, like lending, provided liquidity. All of those are important things, regardless if the speed of money goes up and the cost goes down.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like maybe it's a bad analogy, but in many ways it's like a Shopify moment, where if you combine things like Grid, which is his API, it's easy to tie into the underlying infrastructure, and then you have Bridge, makes those on and off ramps, virtual cards, all that really easy. And then you have AI, where it's like code, copy, design, all of it's going to zero. And you have internet capital markets. And so like for the first time, you have builders around the world that can access all these tools. So to me, I see a ton of experimentation that's going to happen. Maybe it ends up being verticalized products, right? Like we have a lot of big players out there. I think a lot of them will be challenged. Some will embrace it. But at the same time, now any builder can go build and do that like verticalized finance product, and like more might fail than ever before. And for Shopify, that's actually a good thing because it means it's really easy to start a business. And I feel like that same thing will kind of happen with stablecoins.
Yeah, and I think that's something we believe too. It's like, how do we make it really easy for anyone around the world to start a neobank, all powered by stablecoins? And I think step one is making it easy to communicate with all the rails that have existed in the past. Like, how do you get Mexican pesos or Nigerian naira into stablecoins? And then the next step is increasing the utility that we can get from stablecoins, whether that's earning yield or whether that's making payments or whether that's like transacting with others. And the more we can increase that utility that we can build on top of with products that you're building, products that we're building, I think the more all consumers and all businesses will start to benefit.
I love that. Well, this is great.
Cool.
This was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening.